What's going on, guys? It's me, Lone, and I'm really sorry for not posting any videos over the past week. As I mentioned in my last video, if you watched it, I went home to see the family at Easter and spend time with my girlfriend, and work has just been really crazy busy recently, so I really do apologize, but I wanted to try and make a video tonight while I had the opportunity. And it seems like a pretty opportune time as well, because Fallout 4's new revamped survival mode has actually come out on beta on Steam, and Bethesda on the Bethesda.net website posted a pretty lengthy article about all the changes to survival mode, and I just wanted to run through all the major changes quite quickly and then give my thoughts about the new survival mode. I know I've talked about it in the past quite briefly, saying that I was generally supportive of the changes, but I haven't necessarily gone through each specific point and said whether I agree or disagree with the changes and whether I think they're positive or negative. So I wanted to do a little bit of that in today's video, so it's just going to be more of a general discussion, and as always, feel free to put your thoughts in the comments below and like this video if you go on to like it. So before I get started, the Bethesda.net article is in the description below if you want to see the full information I'm referring to today, but I'm going to be highlighting the main points. So first of all, the major theme underpinning Bethesda's overhaul of survival mode is really to increase choices, in particular to have more tough choices and tougher choices in Fallout 4, and they refer to tough choices in this regard in terms of strategy, exploration, resource management, and role-playing. Now, I'm not going to go through these particular aspects of the Bethesda.net article. I really just want to talk about the major changes and what I think about them, but honestly, feel free to read that article because it is a good read. Bethesda makes some good points. So first of all, saving with sleep. Manual quick saving and almost all autosaves are disabled in Fallout 4. To save your game, you'll need to find a bed and sleep in it for at least an hour. I like this change, to be honest. It makes the game much harder in terms of you can't just go running into battle and, rely on a save that you've just made. You really need to think before you explore anywhere, let alone engage in combat, because if you haven't made a save in a while, it's not going to be as simple as saving before a major fight or saving before you actually undertake a particular quest or a particular mission. And that does add a new aspect to the game and promulgate some interesting choices, which Bethesda refers to in their article. And this is one change that I'm definitely supportive of. I might not like it once I actually start playing it, but it's definitely going to be interesting. The second is no more fast travel. So fast travel is disabled, and if you wish to be somewhere, you'll have to get there the old-fashioned way. Now, initially when I looked at this at a first glance, I thought it was an interesting idea. The fact is that, look, you can't just click on the Pip-Boy and travel to wherever you want. If you want to get to a particular location to complete a mission, for example, then you need to actually get there by walking. And again, at first glance, I thought this was interesting, but after I thought about it for a while, and particularly being someone that doesn't always have a lot of time to play games, this kind of feature might be annoying for me personally, because sometimes I may just want to get to a location. I don't want to do a bunch of pointless wandering and traveling to get to a certain location that I just really want to get to. Again, I don't have a lot of time to play games, so when I, sit down to play Fallout 4, I don't want to have to spend most of my time traveling and walking around aimlessly and pointlessly. That's where fast traveling is really beneficial for someone like me that doesn't have so much time. Now, I could see this feature being really interesting and difficult. Well, not so much difficult, but I guess immersive, if you will, for people that have more time to play games. But for someone like me that just wants to sit down for a couple of hours, play some Fallout 4, do some missions, play through the story, what have you, the least interesting aspect of all of that to me is just pointless wandering and walking. Yes, there are times where I want to explore and I want to do a bit of walking and I want to loot some stuff and, discover interesting things in the world. But there are just times where I'm thinking, look, I just want to get this mission done or this quest done. I just want to visit this particular location. I just want to go home to my base. And you can't do that if fast traveling is disabled. So at the very least, I'm indifferent to this particular feature. And what I do hope is that with these particular features is that either there is a mod or Bethesda enables us, and I hope someone actually recommends this in the beta forums, to enable us to turn on and off these particular features. So it doesn't have to be all or nothing with the survival mode in terms of no fast travel, saving with sleep, etc. you can still have those other difficult aspects of survival mode without needing to walk everywhere. Third, increase lethality. You now deal but also take more damage. I think this is a no-brainer and it makes sense. We don't just want, enemies to be bullet sponges, so we effectively should be able to deal more damage to take out these harder enemies. But on the other side of the coin, they need to be able to deal more damage to us. And a lot of mods in the past, especially with 4R3 as far as I remember, did this where you had realistic weapon damage, whereby both, parties, whether it's the enemy itself or you as the player, can deal more damage, but of course you have to take more damage. So I do like this particular feature. So facing the unknown, threats, unless added by the recon scope, no longer display on the compass, and the distance at which locations of interest will appear has been significantly shortened. I think this is relatively uncontroversial as well. The fact that there are no threats on the compass means that enemies can prop up at any time. It can be a surprise. You don't have that foresight, you can't prepare for battle, so it does make it harder. And then having the recon scope as an exception to that makes sense because it's a recon scope. You'd expect to be able to see threats or notice threats in your compass. And there's a new perk called Adrenaline. So Adrenaline comes with survival mode and provides a bonus to your damage output and is increased by getting kills. Every 5 kills increases your adrenaline rank, adding 5% bonus damage for up to an extra 50% damage at the max rank of 10. Now this is really interesting because how does it operate? If you get 5 kills, does that mean your adrenaline rank is permanently increased? You have that 5% of bonus damage for each 5 kills for up to 50% extra damage. So effectively, if you get 50 kills, if my maths is right, then you get the max benefit of adrenaline. I don't know how I feel about that. I would have felt that adrenaline should operate on the basis that when you get these successive kills, your damage increases, but when you die, that rank you've achieved reset. So it's kind of like how perks operated in Call of Duty, one of the games, I can't remember, but as you get more kills, you end up dealing more damage, but once you die, that all resets. So this adrenaline perk seems interesting because it seems to permanently increase the damage you deal simply by getting 50 kills. I don't know if I agree with that or if I like that, but if I'm reading this completely the wrong way, please let me know. And wellness in terms of exhaustion, hunger, and thirst. You must stay hydrated, fed, and rested. This is something that people wanted since they implemented it in New Vegas. In fact, since people actually modded it into the game for Fallout 3, for Skyrim, and also I think they did it for New Vegas again, for some reason. Going for extended periods of time without food, water, or a good night's sleep will begin to adversely affect your health, hurting your special stats, adding to your fatigue, lowering your immunity, and eventually causing physical damage to you. I don't see death though. I don't think death is a possibility with exhaustion, hunger, or thirst, which would have been nice, but you can't have everything. And this is another no-brainer. Again, people wanted this because it was so successful and popular in New Vegas. It adds a different aspect to the game. I remember playing New Vegas with the hardcore mode on and having to eat, drink, and sleep. Honestly, wasn't too bad. At first, it might seem a little bit daunting, but you just get used to it. It becomes part of the game. So like you would in real life, you have to remember to sleep, to eat, to drink, and it's just another thing to do. So it's not really that daunting once you get into it, and I really enjoyed the feature in New Vegas. And lastly, fatigue. So fatigue mostly comes from being tired, but both hunger and thirst also affect it. Fatigue works like radiation, but it affects your action points or AP instead, rather than your hit points. So essentially, fatigue is radiation for your action points. I like that. I think it's cool. The fact is that if you were fatigued as a player, you probably shouldn't be able to sprint as much, or you probably shouldn't be able to have so many shots and VATs. I do like this particular feature. It's something different, but as I mentioned before, this is something that should be a choice to tick on and off, but I really do like it. And then they have a whole other slew of different things that they're tweaking with the survival mode. Like for example, the type of beds you're sleeping in limits the length of time you are able to sleep, which limits the time that you can actually recover. So real beds, which are really difficult to come by in the world, offer the highest bonuses for sleeping, which rewards you for working out of a home base or spending the caps for a good night's sleep. So effectively this means in terms of fatigue, for example, and being able to be rested, you need to find a good bed to find the better bonuses bonuses. I really like this, to be honest. It means that you can't just sleep, in a dirty old rag and have the same bonuses and impacts or positive impacts as you would if you slept in a nice bed. And they kind of had this in Fallout 3 in New Vegas, where you get a well-rested bonus if you sleep in an own bed or your own bed, which I liked. It gave you a benefit of sleeping in your own bed as opposed to a random bed. And one of the more interesting aspects of the new survival mode is illness and antibiotics. So there are going to be several different illnesses that affect you. Your base chance of getting sick increases as your average wellness decreases. So antibiotics can be crafted, bought or found, and alongside doctors, and can heal your current illnesses. Certain things in the world, such as taking hits by certain creatures or using chems, may immediately give you an illness. And thankfully, stim packs are no longer the fix-all, miracle drug, so you have to be prepared. And I like that about stim packs. First of all, it can't just heal everything, which, makes sense. Stim packs are just an injection. They shouldn't be able to heal crippled limbs and whatnot, which is why I really like the mods where you had to get a doctor's bag instead of stim packs to heal your limbs. But another interesting aspect I like about this is that by taking hits from creatures or using chems, you may immediately get an illness. That's unpredicted, and that's awesome. We're really going to have to be on our guard in terms of fighting particular enemies or using particular chems. It might mean that you don't take a certain chem because of the illness it gives you, where you don't have any antibiotics on board. So this is another really cool feature that I like. And another feature, which is a difficult word to pronounce, immunodeficiency. I got that right. So items that cleanse your body of rads come with the cost of making you tired and temporarily damaging your immunity, which leaves you more vulnerable to illness than usual. By adding this negative effect to Radaway, we are pushing you to only use it when you really need it. This is another really cool feature. It means that Radaway doesn't just have purely positive benefits. There are going to be negative benefits you need to bear in mind if you want to cure your radiation, and simply goes to make the game a little bit harder. And on the topic of crippled limbs will no longer auto heal after combat. Thank God, this never made sense. To be honest, I preferred Fallout 3's take on it, where you had to use stim packs to heal crippled limbs or even sleep. The fact that it's an auto heal after combat is kind of silly. Now, I'm not too sure if in Fallout 3, where if you got a crippled limb and you waited for a while or kept walking, that it would heal automatically. From memory, I believe you either had to use a stim pack or sleep for a while. But again, I still prefer that to auto healing, without doing anything. So it's good they brought this back in, but I still don't think stim packs should be able to do this, or sleeping should be able to do this. I still think you should really need a separate item like a doctor's bag that can heal crippled limbs, or equally just going to a doctor to heal your crippled limbs, because it doesn't make sense for a stim pack to fix a broken arm or a blown off leg or whatever, or just sleeping in a bed. That doesn't make sense, but again, it's still the preferable option than just auto healing after combat. Carry weight. Your total carry weight has been reduced, and items like ammo and stim packs now have weight. Bullets and shells have a small amount of weight, which vary by caliber, while missiles and mini nukes are quite heavy. Now, I'll be completely honest, I was never really a big fan of ammo weight. For one, sometimes inventory management in Fallout, while it's one of the main aspects that Fallout is known for, sometimes for me it just gets tedious, and this is going back to the fact that I don't have so much time to play games. So sometimes I just want to collect everything. I don't want to have to, remove items to relieve some of my carry weight. I just want to play the fucking game, and I don't want to have to continuously be looking in my Pip-Boy as opposed to exploring and shooting and doing quests. And I'll be really honest with you guys right now, recently when I've been playing Fallout 4, I actually implemented a mod, and you can do this by using console commands as well, where I was able to have effectively unlimited carry weight, because again, I just wanted to play the game. But trust me, I do understand the reasons for implementing this into the survival mode. I think it makes sense. I think it's going to be beneficial. I think for a lot of people, or for most people, it's going to be welcomed, but it's just a little gripe that I have personally, and that's definitely the minority position. I can accept that. So painful encumbrance. Exceeding your carry weight reduces your overall wellness, quickly building fatigue, and eventually will cripple your legs. That's fucking amazing. I love that. So you can't just hoard a whole bunch of items and then make the long, slow trip back home. Now, admittedly, while this isn't something that really affected me, because when I am over encumbered, I tend to just unload a bunch of shit and then fast travel. I've never been someone to make a slow trip back home while being over encumbered just to get all of my loot into a locker. I found that tedious and annoying, so I really do like this particular feature where you can't really do that, and the fact that it cripples your legs eventually I think is fun and mean, but just really awesome. Companion costs. Now this is interesting. Carry weight for companions has been decreased, and they will no longer automatically get back up if down during combat. Instead, they are going to return home if abandoned without being healed. So this means that you can't just save your stim packs when Dogmeat or whoever gets down in combat until combat is finished, which admittedly, that's what I tended to do because I soon found out and quickly found out that when Dogmeat was down, for example, I didn't need to waste so many stim packs getting him up again for him to just get downed again. I could just kill all the enemies myself and wait till the combat was over, so Dogmeat would get up again automatically. So this is another one of those mean things that I really like that they're doing. And I also do like the fact that carry weight for companions has been decreased because a lot of people, including Noah, he especially mentioned this in the podcast, that they will just solely use companions as a way to carry items. Now, while companions are definitely more interesting in Fallout 4 compared to last games, they still kind of have that aspect to them where you're just tagging them along just to help you carry more shit, so I do like that. And the very last thing, enemy and loot repopulation. So locations you've cleared will now repopulate with new enemies and loot at a significantly slower rate. This to me is relatively uncontroversial and I agree with it. So, that was a long video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Again, let me know in the comments below what you think about all of the new changes to the survival mode. I would really appreciate your feedback. Again, sorry for not uploading videos, but it's a really busy time for me, so don't be surprised if I can't spit out videos like I try to, even though I don't really do it. Thanks to my full-time job. So anyways, Wastelanders, that's all from me. This has been the Lone Vault Wanderer. Please take care of yourself, and as always, keep fighting the good fight.